This video is a demonstration walkthrough of Lab 27.2.15. Isolate a compromised host using the 5-tuple. And in network security, the 5-tuple refers to the source and destination IP address, the source and destination port number, and the protocol involved. In this lab, we're going to review logs to identify the compromised hosts and the content of a compromised file. To do this lab, you're going to use the Security Onion virtual machine that comes with the Cisco Netacad course, and you're going to need to install this virtual machine into Oracle VirtualBox. Now, I already have it running, so I'll switch over to my virtual machine, which I'm running in VirtualBox. Here's Security Onion. I've already logged in with the username analyst and the password CyberOps. Now, to start in this lab, following the instructions, I'm going to open up Squeal. I'll put in the username analyst, password CyberOps. I want to look at all of the alerts related to the networks we're monitoring or the sensors that we're monitoring. So I'll select all and start Squeal. And here is our alert console. I'm going to drag it open a little bit here so we can see more of the event message. And in this lab, following the instructions, we're concerned with an event that happened on June 11th, 2020, alert 5.1. And you can see here, GPL attack response, the ID check returned root. So it looks like maybe there was root access to a system. So we can click on Show Packet Data and show the signature rule for the IDS that was triggered in this attack or in this alert. And we can see here the source and destination IP address in the IP layer header information, the transport layer header information, source destination port, flags, and you can see here the data. And you can see a little bit of the data in here, and we can see here it says ID, user ID 0, root, this is the root user ID, and the group ID for root. So this is suspicious traffic going across the network. If we want to, we can expand this out to take a little bit closer look at the signature. We can see the signature ID number right here. Next, to get more information, I'll go over to the alert ID 5.1, right click, and then click on transcript to see a transcript of the session. Now here's the session with the source and the source requests and the destination responses. So the request here was an ID command. Looks like somebody had terminal access to the system, issued an ID command which returned user ID 0 for root and the group ID 0 root. You can see here they issued a whoami command, a no-hup command, a hostname command which returned the server name, Metasploitable. The whoami command returned that the user was root, so this person had root access to the system. They issued an ifconfig command to look at the network interface information. They looked at the shadow file, which has all the user account hashes and passwords. There's the root account hash, the password, and the analyst user account and the hash password. You can see that it tried to echo an account name, myroot, into the root etc shadow file, and then filtered to see the root account. Now, they also looked at the passwd file, which has all the user account information. If we scroll down farther here, you can see that they echoed the myroot user account into that passwd file, and then grepping or filtering for it, you can see that it was returned. So they added an account name to the passwd user account information file. Okay, I'll close this, and this time I'll right click on it and open up the same alert in Wireshark and take a look at it from the perspective of Wireshark. So here are the individual packets from this session. I can right click on the first packet and choose follow TCP stream, and you can see it gives me similar information from the conversation. Right now we're looking at the entire conversation, or I could look at only the replies, or only the requests or the commands that were issued, but the entire conversation colored in red and blue shows me the same information here. Let's see if we can use a different tool to get some more information. So what I'll do is I'll close this and I'll close Wireshark, and this time with the same alert highlighted here in Squeal, I'll go over to the source IP address, right click, go down to Kibana IP lookup and choose source IP. And this should open up Kibana, which will allow me to use Elasticsearch or the Elastic Stack to investigate the logs for this alert. So I'll put in the username analyst and the password CyberOps. It'll take a second, but Kibana will open up, and then we can use the Kibana dashboard to investigate this particular alert further. Now it looks like the dashboard opened up, but I've got 0 logs here, so something's not right. If I look up here, you can see the time frame is just the last 24 hours. However, we know from the alert that this alert took place on June 11th at a specific time in 2020. So what I'll do is I'll click on this last 24 hours and I'll change it to an absolute time range, and I'll choose June, let's say June 1st to June 30th, and we know that that will capture the range that we need. I'll click go, and you can see here the absolute time range up here, and you can see we have 136 logs here and the log count over time. If I want to zoom in on these events here to get a closer look at it, I can just click and drag, and that should zoom in a little closer on these events. And you can see when we do that, they expand out a little farther, giving a little more detail as to, you know, the exact number of events here. And you can see at this time there was 4 events, 48, 26 count, and then the count here is 58. If we look down here, we can see that we have connections 62, files 23. These are the log types: DNS, HTTP, SSH connections, and FTP connections. Let's filter for this FTP information right here. So on a hunch, we'll take a look at the FTP information. I'll click the little plus symbol here, and that should filter just for the FTP logs. You can see there's 2 logs, and there's not a lot of additional information right here, but if we scroll all the way to the bottom, you can see the actual 2 logs here. And you can see the source IP address that was involved. Notice it was not the IP address in the alert. The IP address, according to Squeal, was this address and this address. Well, it turns out that this was a reply from the server, probably to the router. And over here, under this log, we can see that here is the IP address on the LAN of the user that was requesting this information. And then this is the server address here. The source port is a random source port number identifying the host that made the request. And then the destination port, port 21, which indicates that this was FTP. If we open this log up a little bit further, we can see some more information. So there's the IP address. You've got some geolocation information that this happened, where it happened: California, Los Angeles, the time zone, the port 21. You can see here that the event type was a BRO, which is now a Zeek IDS, Intrusion Detection System, FTP event. The FTP argument from 192.168.0.11, the FTP command was a port command which was establishing a connection to the FTP server. You can see here port command successful. So it looks like they connected successfully to the FTP server. All right, let's take a look at the second log. If we open up the second log and scroll down, let's get some more information here. You can see BRO FTP event type Notice the FTP argument here, an FTP connection to the server address here, and then it looks like there was a file, confidential.txt, and the command, the store command, uploaded a file to the server. So it looks like a file was uploaded to the server. Let's see if we can get some more information about this. This is interesting. If I go back up here to the top, you can see the ID of this log, and the ID shows up in the expanded view, but also in the table row view right here. If we click on this ID, it will open up the packet capture in CapMe, and we can see the session. So you can see here in this session, the username analyst, which was given to connect to the FTP server, the password CyberOps, the login was successful. You can see the response from the FTP server. And then you can see here, there is the port command successful, and then the store command, which uploads confidential.txt. So we can see exactly what happened in this connection. Two commands that were executed, port and store. And then what we want to do is let's see if we can get a look at what was in this confidential.txt file. So for this, I'll close CapMe, and then I'll scroll all the way back up here to the top of our dashboard. And what we can do is we could take a look at this same information based on the event, bro FTP. Notice the filter for this event, bro FTP, on this date and this time range. And we're going to look at it though using Zeek hunting dashboards here. So here's some more dashboards that we can use to investigate this. Now Zeek is the name of bro, or the new name for the bro IDS. So we're interested in not the FTP data, but the file. So I'm going to go to files here and see if we can get information about the files in this time range. So files, log count. You can see here the MIME types, text files, JPEG, PNG, HTML, GIF, icon files, favicons. And you can see here there is the FTP data. If we filter for just this FTP data and then scroll down to the log all the way at the bottom, there is the log. Take a quick look. FTP data. Let's open it up. Let's go look at the PCAP for this. Now this time I'll click on the alert ID right here. Notice I can click on it either here or here. Actually this time let's click it on it over here. So here's the alert ID. I'll click here. It'll open up in PCAP. And right here on this log entry here, you can see here, source, confidential document, do not share. This document contains information about the last security breach. So this is the text in the file, since it was a text file, which you can see in the PCAP here by looking at this in CapMe, by actually looking at the packet capture data. So now we know the server at 209.165.200.235. We know that it was using ports 20 and 21. It's an FTP server. We know the host that requested, or in this case, uploaded this document into this server. And we have some information about the actual file and what was transferred.